2 years ago, I never thought I would ever apply for graduate school. Then I read one book, Mastery by Robert Greene, and everything changed. I'll not only be talking about how it changed my mindset, but also how it changed my life. Whenever I finished my undergraduate years, I was left with the feeling of, hopelessness, because I had paved such a high standard for myself that anything that was considered subpar in my brain was unacceptable in real life. In fall of 2022, I attended the University of Georgia in their College of Engineering, and I thought I was going to be a biochemical engineer that year. And little did I know that God had a different plan for my life. And so I ended up leaving the school a year later after realizing the very hardest way possible that was not what I should have been doing. And I felt hopeless after a period of time until I read a book. Like most people, I doubted my potential. I doubted that I was on the right path. And I wasn't even sure that I should commit to anything specifically because I wanted to do too much at once. And so by spreading myself too thin, I in turn diluted myself into a mindset of defeatism. Some nights I was inconsolable. I didn't know where my life was going. I didn't know what I was doing with my life. And I just felt like the end of the road was fast approaching. And that's a very scary place to be because I didn't know where I was going to be going with my life. I didn't know if I was ever going to be going back to graduate school. But after reading Mastery, I mustered up enough courage to apply to a college that I would have never thought I'd ever be at. So I've been hyping up this book for a while. In fact, I've mentioned this a couple times on the channel already, but you're probably wondering what on earth is in this book that got this guy to turn his life around so quickly. So yeah, let's get into what makes this book special and how it changed my life. So I'm going to break this video up into 4 different parts: the apprenticeship phase, the importance of mentorship, following your life's task, and the creative active phase. Mastery essentially emphasizes that before achieving greatness, you must go through an apprenticeship phase, which could include years of deliberate practice, learning, and skill refinement. Many people quit too early because they expect quick success, but Greene essentially argues that true mastery comes from embracing the long, often tedious process of skill development. And this is where I want to talk about a small shift in my mindset. When I read that first chapter of Mastery, I very quickly realized that I was loving what I was doing in undergrad for all the wrong reasons. I was loving the idea of the end of that tunnel. I pictured myself being a doctor, a PhD, something of the sort. But I didn't love the idea of all the hard work I had to do to get to that point. So I had to learn how to fall in love with the game. And that was kind of the first shift that I noticed in myself because I started to love what I was doing. I started to love the long hours. I started to love the hard work I was putting into my projects. And that was just one small change. Robert Greene highlights that mentors accelerate learning. They help apprentices all the time to avoid common mistakes and to refine their skills even faster. Finding the right mentor can be life-changing because they can provide a wisdom that you wouldn't normally gain by yourself. Whenever I read this section of the book, I started to look at my mentors in a different light, and I started realizing that, hey, these people are here to help me. These people are here to almost be like stepping stones toward my path, toward the end of that tunnel. And because of that, I learned to deepen the relationships with my mentors. Robert Greene argues that everyone has a life's task, a calling, or a deep passion that, if pursued relentlessly, leads to mastery. The challenge is recognizing that and then having the courage to commit fully. Everyone's calling is different. Everyone's calling is unique. And that's the special part about being human, because everyone's different. Everyone has a different calling in life. I think whenever I tried to pursue engineering, I had a false idea of who I was supposed to be. And so I chose what I deemed to be the hardest thing around, and then I pursued that thing, just for the idea of having bragging rights. Now, that sounds egotistical, and it's because it was. And now that I'm doing something, not totally different, but a little bit different, I'm a lot happier, and I'm doing things that I really enjoy, and I'm helping a lot of people because of it. After the apprenticeship phase, the next step is to apply knowledge creatively, experimenting, innovating, and making an impact. True mastery isn't just learning, it's using that knowledge to contribute something new. This is the spot in the book that really pushed me to apply to graduate school again, because I had been to graduate school for a year and I hated it. It was basically hell for me. So why would I want to go back there and put myself in that frame of mind again after what seemed to be the most traumatic year of my life? Because I loved what I was doing. When I was talking with my wife about applying to graduate school again, she was obviously very supportive, but just speaking about what I was applying for was getting me excited, something that she didn't see when I was applying for the engineering program before. Now, this is not to hate on any engineers. I know dozens of them, and they're extremely intelligent and they love what they do, at least most of them. One night when I was toward the end of reading Mastery, I was sitting out on my balcony in my apartment and I was looking out into the stars, and I sat for a second in the quiet ambiance of the distant interstate, and I thought to myself, what is my purpose? And I felt silence. And I sat there and I thought to myself, what am I supposed to do? Do I even have a purpose? And in that moment, I realized that I wanted to have a purpose. And because I wanted to, I did. Now, I'm never one to toot my own horn in any capacity, but I want to kind of use myself as an example for how much this book can affect you and how much it can really change your life. In 2022, I went from not knowing my purpose, being extremely depressed, extremely upset with myself for not pursuing the standard that I set out for myself, to being in a graduate program for Johns Hopkins University. And I think that, if I can be an example for you guys, that'd be awesome, because at the bare basics of all of it, I'm a very lazy person by nature. I don't like to go out of my way to do a lot of things. So if this book can change my mindset, this book can change anyone's mindset. And this video serves as sort of like a teaser for the book, because I don't want to actually get into the nitty-gritty behind it. I need you guys to pick the book up for yourselves and read the book. I just kind of highlighted the general outline of the structure of the book. But yeah, it's a pretty great book. I have a copy sitting right here. I took off the sleeve as I normally do with books. My wife loves to keep the sleeves on for her books, but I don't. This is the book. It's pretty great. It's not gonna focus, is it? Yeah, Mastery is pretty awesome. I mean, I can't recommend this book enough, especially if you plan on pursuing graduate school, if you plan on pursuing graduate school, or pursuing anything greater in life. I recommend picking up the book, because the worst it can do for you is inspire you a little bit. Whether you're a person who doubts themselves a lot, whether you're a person who is overly negative toward themselves, toward others, if you're a person who is just a simple underachiever, or if you're a person who used to be an overachiever, but you feel like you're almost like a lost prodigy due to time, I recommend picking up a copy of Mastery by Robert Greene. It's a fantastic book, a fantastic read, and I can't recommend it enough. Anyways, I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure to hit the like button below if you liked it enough, and also make sure to comment your favorite Starbucks order. Yeah, give me your Starbucks order. I'd like to take some notes. But yeah, please subscribe to the channel, because I'd love to continue making more videos like these. And if you like the video enough, make sure to please subscribe. Anyways, it's been a good one. Peace.